What's happening, Hardscapers? Today we're going to talk about whether or not you should seal your pavers or paving product. Let's get into this. So we're going to be testing a lot of different things, including a solvent-based sealer, a water-based sealer, as well as a variety of products, including dry cast pavers, a factory sealed dry cast paver, porcelain, natural stone, and actually sealing natural stone with organic stains, including olive oil, ketchup, barbecue sauce, and wine. Show you how those stains actually will look like in the real world, and just simulating a barbecue experience in the backyard where you might have this staining occurring. Now, this is an imperfect test. I'll just put that out there right now. We didn't actually follow the proper sealing instructions by the manufacturer of these sealers, where you really should be doing a paver care cleaning before you actually go ahead and seal them. Let's switch to that camera and show you our results here. We're gonna pour wine, oil, olive oil, ketchup, and barbecue sauce on this. This is just to represent an entertainment space, a get together on a factory sealed product. So somebody spills wine, somebody spills olive oil, somebody spills ketchup or barbecue sauce. We're going to show you what the cleanup is like if you were to spill that on a factory sealed paver. I'm going to be wiping away this. This has been sitting now for probably about 36 hours. We'll see what we can wipe up here. We'll clean up the oil. So I'll get this one. Okay, a little bit of residue from the oil. We'll go to the ketchup. Ketchup's gonna be sticky. Then move on to the barbecue sauce. I will scrub a little. The wine, you can see a little bit. You can see a little bit from the barbecue sauce. I don't see much from the ketchup, very little. Oil's pretty much gone. I'm gonna put this under a tap and scrub it with the toothbrush, and I'll come right back. Now, I don't know if my eyes are fooling me, but that looks brand new. I don't see any more stains, so just a matter of quick pressure washing would get those stains out really quick. But even a wipe up and with traffic over time, or giving it a little scrub and a rinse, you would have no stain on there. This is Aramosa limestone, and this is porcelain stone meant to mimic Aramosa limestone. It looks a little bit more dull compared to the actual product, but Aramosa will differ from piece to piece, as will the porcelain. They have a certain amount of molds, and what that actually looks like there. We'll switch to time lapse, let this sit for a bit, but you can already see with the natural stone that wine is soaked in, that oil, olive oil, is pretty much soaked in. But with the porcelain, with it being so dense and not a lot of things getting through it, the wine's just sitting there, the oil is just sitting there, ketchup, barbecue sauce. We'll switch to time lapse, we'll see what happens. Here's our porcelain after 36 hours. Here is our natural stone. We'll start with the wine here. Towel here, soak it all up, rub it off. Once again, no problem at all. Ketchup is usually solidified, but once again, that came off no problem. Our barbecue sauce. So you can see a little bit of residue everywhere, but I'm sure once I give this a quick clean, quick rinse off, it's gonna be completely fine. This is all just solidified barbecue sauce. Everything else there came up no problem. None of this is gonna come off. So there's some olive oil that's soaked in underneath the porcelain that was on top of it. This is supposed to be the wine, olive oil, ketchup, once again solidified, and barbecue sauce here, solidified. So there we are. That's about as good as I'm gonna get. We're gonna give this a quick rinse, see what happens. I'm gonna leave these sit for a bit, let them dry. A little bit light, a little bit darker where that wine, olive oil, ketchup, barbecue sauce was. Porcelain looks perfectly fine. I'm gonna set it to a time lapse, see how this dries. And after drying, this is what the porcelain looks like. It looks completely fine. Nothing wrong with the porcelain. And this is what the natural stone looks like. So obvious staining there. On the back side of our natural stone here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply a couple of different sealers and then try to stain it and see how that goes. So the same solvent-based sealer, we'll do that on the right side here, and then the color booster on the left. I'm just gonna pour a little bit here. And now this is the water-based one. Water-based is penetrating, based is a surface. Turn to a time lapse and see how this soaks in, and then test our staining. We're gonna test our natural stone here, and this was the solvent based, this was the water based, and then we also have an area here that was not sealed. So we'll get started here with our wine. That's better. We'll let that sit for a bit, come back and see what's left. Here's our natural stone. This is our water-based sealer, so all the way up to the top, and the solvent sealers here, and then we've got our unsealed area there where things have kind of soaked in. So we're just gonna give this a good wiping. This has been soaking for a long time, because I forgot about it at least 5 days. We're gonna give it a rinse and see what we've got here. And this is what we're left with. So we've got our solvent-based sealer in this area, and it left nothing. There's a little bit of ketchup here that's still solidified. Maybe a little bit of that ketchup stain. And this is our water-based sealer, and it is still beating water. So I know it's still sealed, and I wonder if we can see that nice and carefully here where it's actually beating water, but you can still see that we've got that olive oil and the ketchup and the barbecue sauce stain there, still kind of coming through there. So should you actually seal your pavers? Ultimately, I do think this is just a personal decision, but it is something that I would make and discuss with your client beforehand, before you actually go ahead and choose and install the pavers. Because like you saw there, the factory-based sealed product really does a good job of repelling those stains. So perhaps it's something that you might want to look at to offer them, because not every product that is dry cast is offered in a factory sealed product for it. That being said, for me personally, I like to wait once a new product has been put on the market, wait a couple of seasons before actually going ahead and installing it for my client, just to see what the feedback is in the real world from contractors that have actually used it. But definitely a good option if you are deciding whether or not you should seal your product. And we saw how the natural stone worked, and we saw how that factory-based sealed product worked, that dry cast product without any sealer. But the best one for repelling those stains was the porcelain. And that is just natural. You don't have to pay for sealing, maintenance on it going forward with it. And I think that's just a great solution to being able to use and install a product for your clients that's going to resist those stains, without every 3 to 5 years having to actually reapply that sealer and keep up on that maintenance schedule. Now, would I seal my pavers? If I had a lot of trees and foliage around my paver patio, I'd probably look into getting that sealed to prevent the staining from those leaves falling on my patio and staining my patio over time, especially if I'm not used to immediately cleaning up those leaves week in and week out. Just provides an extra layer of protection. It'll also protect against UV rays and, like I said, salting as well. So if there's a front area that we're going to be salting in the winter time, we might want to apply a sealer to it. That being said, there are manufacturers that warranty their product for that salting. That's without even being sealed as well. If I entertain a lot, if I have a lot of people on my patio and I know that that's going to introduce more stains to my patio, yeah, I might look at applying a sealer to protect those stones as well. Give me a little bit more time if we do stain something or something does fall onto the pavers, that we can quickly wipe it away and water it to be able to get that stain off the surface and not allow it to penetrate into the stone. The best thing that you can do for your client is understand what they're going to be using the space for and what they're concerned about with that space and those stains that might be introduced to the pavement, to be able to then choose a product or a solution like sealing that product that's going to work best for them. There's pros and cons to both water-based and solvent-based sealers, and we'll do a video on that in the future to go over it, but you definitely saw how that solvent-based sealer really repelled those stains as opposed to that water-based sealer. If you do decide to go solvent-based, you can only ever go solvent-based. You can't go back to water-based. If you seal with water-based, you can go to solvent-based in the future with your product. Solvent-based usually adds some sort of shininess, and a water-based sealer can just be natural or some sort of color boost to go with that. But once again, we'll get into all those different options in a future video. If you have any other questions, leave it in the comment section below. Like this video if you found it helpful for whatever reason, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more hardscaping content like this. Thank you so much for watching.